up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up.
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up. But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Hey, what up, though, people? It's your boy Brandon Dan, K Detroit Kool-Aid. We got Flannel Sam in the building, and this is Wake Up Woodward. I hope everybody had a very, very good Merry Christmas. Everybody got what they wanted, and that, you know what? I'm wearing one of the gifts, man. It's my Batman shirt. My kids, they know what it is, and it's the animated series one.
Nice.
But I'm telling you guys, the coolest gift, they got me a Funko Pop Detroit Kool-Aid.
Oh, stop
I was
it.
like, dog, like.
I got that last year. I'm a big Funko Pop guy myself.
Me too.
So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, I don't even put like all my memorabilia stuff out there, but like over the weekend I had to show the Grant Hill one, and that one too, man. Like that one got me, bro. It had the victory shades on and everything.
Yeah.
It had my phone in my hand. I was like, bro, this is crazy.
That's wild.
Flannel Sam, man, and you
Yeah.
know what? A good Christmas gift. Being out here with my guys. What up, though, brother?
Hey, yeah, it was a pretty solid Christmas for me as well. You know, there was a lot of good sports on too, which we're going to talk about in a second, particularly
sports.
NFL football. A couple of AFC teams made some statements on Christmas Day. I'll just say that.
Hey, shout out to our brother Broder. And, you know, and the rest of you guys, man, the chat family, you guys are always the most important part of this thing. Go ahead and smash that like button. It'd be the perfect gift for us as we close out this week. And we got the legend Rod Beard on today as well for a couple segments. Can't wait to talk to him as well. But shout out to the Elite Booth. We got KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick, a.k.a. Black Hollywood. What up, though, brother?
What up, though, man? Hope everybody Christmas was good. Mine was real low key. The football was absolutely atrocious, but we will get into it. But yeah, how everybody feeling, man? Was their Christmas good for everybody?
It's great, man. Chat family, definitely. Y'all hear KG. Let us know how the Christmas was. And we got that dude, Justin, filling in for Woodward Sports MVP JB Smooth in the TD. You know what? That dude, Justin, in the TD booth. What up, though, brother?
Hey, I'm doing
Small
good.
breasts.
Hey, shout out my dog, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got this new hoodie for Christmas, and I absolutely love it because there's nothing more I love than trolling Packers fans.
Hey, well, you know what? Let's jump into this. Football, man.
Yeah.
Football. I got to ask you, this is the question of the day. Is football, is it a wrap for NBA on Christmas? Is that now the NFL's day? Because Flannel Sam.
Yeah.
Flannel Sam. I know there's a lot of LeBron people out there, and he was trying his best. But come on, man. NFL was looking pretty darn good on Christmas, huh?
I mean, a couple of teams who the Lions may be in a collision course for the Super Bowl played the best games of their respective seasons. I mean, you saw the Chiefs really have a dominant win. Patrick Mahomes had his best game of the season. He spread the ball around to your guy, Xavier Worthy. Travis Kelce, who isn't quite done just yet, is trying to squeeze the rest out of his career. Guys like
Breaking records.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Watson had himself a game as well. And then you go over to the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, for so many parts of the season, their defense, particularly their pass defense, was a bit of a question mark, and they held a albeit depleted Texans team, missing Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, unfortunately, to 0 offensive points. Their only points was a safety.
That is crazy.
You know, Lamar Jackson, even though he only completed 10 passes, he accounted for 3 touchdowns, made an MVP statement himself. So, a couple of AFC teams announced their I wouldn't say they're a rival, but it's something that I think us as Lions fans, we notice. It's like we might see these guys later on in the season. One of them. I would bet we might see one of them. Maybe the Bills are in that mix as well, but wouldn't be shocked at all if it's the Chiefs again. Maybe Lamar exercises some playoff demons.
No.
Who knows?
Definitely
Maybe not. Maybe
I
not.
really hope
Maybe
he
not.
does. But like, just for him, just Lamar, I'm not even like the biggest Lamar Jackson fan. I don't root for him to fail, but now it's to the point that's like this guy is so talented that it's like you got to do something in the playoffs at some point in time, man. You got to validate that career. I do believe he will. This year is looking good for him, but the Kansas City Chiefs magic is crazy. But just if you tell me before the game that the Texans are only going to get 2 points on the safety, I would tell you that's crazy. It's Lamar Jackson. You
No
get the
excuse
safety.
for that.
Like, you know
No
what I mean?
excuse
Think
for that.
about that before the game. It's just, I would be like, that's wild. But it happened. But the defense is on display, regardless of the situations that you're facing for both of these teams, is what stood out when you talk about, do either one of these teams, how you're looking at them as it relates to a Lions fan with Super Bowl aspirations. Hey, you got to pay attention to these teams. These are, especially with the Chiefs, no matter what anybody says, and this is why Flannel, to his credit, continues to rank them very, very high, despite how they look, winning games, because they're still winning games, and they lock up the AFC #1 seed in that bye week.
Yeah, no, that's the most important thing for them, and they're used to playing in that position. I know last year they had to go on the road a couple of times, one at Buffalo, one at Baltimore, and prove that they could do it. But the Kansas City Chiefs have lived off of getting home field advantage for the duration of the playoffs, and they're going to get it again. And no matter whether you're a Bills fan, if you're a Bills fan, if you're a Ravens fan, if you're a fan of any other team, going into Arrowhead is still a very daunting challenge. It's the burden of proof is on those guys, not on the Kansas City Chiefs. They've showed that they can do it, and now they get the easiest path, which, as I said last week, even though it hasn't always looked impressive, you still have seen a good performance from their defense. You've seen Patrick Mahomes play well in crunch time, and even in some entire games like against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chiefs are still formidable, but the Ravens, got to give them credit too. It looks like they are going to officially lock up the division. It was looking like for a while they were going to get the wild card, but they're gonna steal that one from the Steelers.
Bro, and you know what's crazy is that when you look at what Patrick Mahomes is doing, this is where down the stretch of the season, they're just putting the ball in his hands and say, go make plays happen. You look at the rushing numbers here, 69 yards as a team, and Patrick Mahomes had 12 of those yards. Yeah. You look at Kareem Hunt, and had 2.2 yards a carry. And he's going out here 320 yards for the game, 3 touchdowns, and it's just like, you know what? Yeah. This is as we look at our Lions team, becoming one of these teams where, you know what, they defy the logic, they defy what should be. Hey, everybody's injured on defense. This team still finds a way to go out there and hold teams to 17 points, 20 points. And it just defies logic. You can no longer sit here and apply that type of, when you're going through your power rankings or your predictions of what you think is going to happen. With the Chiefs, especially with the fact that they've won championships, they have one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And sometimes I think it's just easy to forget that because the team overall can look a certain way. But what has always made the Chiefs go, aside from Andy Reid, is Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, sir.
And and this is what makes me confident about the Lions, because you said this about Jared Goff. As long as Patrick Mahomes is standing upright, the Chiefs are going to always be the team that you got to fear in the AFC, period. I have to give that, tip my cap. Whether Flannel feels that way or not, he could be cheesing so much on the inside right now. It's just the truth. But equally on the side of the NFC, as long as Jared Goff is standing upright, I believe in this Detroit Lions team.
No, you got to, man. And we got to give props to what the Chiefs have done the last 3 weeks. They finally are starting to look like the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, back to your comment earlier, like, is the NBA done? Absolutely not. Because I needed something else to turn to other than these 2 games. I mean, the Steelers' offense, absolutely atrocious, but at least that game was semi-competitive. There is no excuse for what the fuck happened with Houston, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I get it, man. Just things weren't going the right way, and the Ravens probably played their best defensive game the whole year. But just the fact that you went in there and put up 2 points, you couldn't even muster a field goal drive like the whole game. That's worrisome, man. And I really thought that the Houston Texans were a better team, but just down the stretch, they just have not looked right.
They caught it.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of haven't looked right all year, but these last 2 to 3 weeks, they really just, something is off there, man, with the Houston Texans. 2 points is that's inexcusable.
I wonder what set that off.
Well, the thing is, though, I will give them this. 2 points, there is no excuse.
It's
if you have C.J. Stroud back there, if you got Joe Mixon, if you got Nico Collins, you should at least be able to put up, at worst, 14 to 17. But I think they're honestly just still reeling from that Tank Dell injury. Did you hear how bad it is?
Yeah.
He could miss all of next year.
Yeah.
But still, that there's no excuse to put up only 2 points. But fortunately for them, they clinched the AFC South because it's such a bad division. But I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs. They probably lose to the wild card team, honestly.
One and done.
Man.
They're probably going to regress after what we saw last year, which is crazy.
And it is because even I and others, I believe that they were more or less the equivalent of the AFC's version of the Lions. You know, this team that was, good coaching all across the board. They got more talent. Structure. They got more talent in the offseason, both in the draft and free agency. I thought that they were going on their way to solidify themselves as a top 3 team in the AFC and a top 5 team in the NFL overall. I really believe that. But instead, what we saw this year is, regardless of anything that happens to the Lions, we see them moving more into the Chiefs' magic area level, whereas the Texans are going back the other way. It's interesting to see, but it gives me, like I said, this morning, what these games do, they give me a whole lot of confidence because on the other side are teams like the Texans were an upstart and the Steelers are one of those old stalwarts. And we see both of those teams got body back. I just don't believe that would happen to our Detroit Lions, primarily because of who's on the sidelines and who's also under center. Yeah, that to me means so much, and we've seen it pay and be the biggest difference for the Lions all season.
And good offense beats good defense in this iteration of the league. You just got to be real about it, man. So as long as the Lions have that kind of offense, they have a puncher's chance in most games that they're in because, if the offense ain't going, you look like the Steelers yesterday, or you look like the Houston Texans yesterday.
Look, man, I teed the people up, man. They're mad at me for saying that NBA might be threatened on Christmas Day.
The games were competitive in the NBA, though. Like
$4.99 super chat. Can the NFL stop trying to do football on Christmas? Because, my gosh, both games freaking sucked. Just let the NBA have that day. The NBA games were just better.
They were.
Matt G, Thursday football on Christmas. I guess he's for it. I saw a couple other people, the victors. Dude, those football games were horrible. WTF are you talking about? 2 blowouts? The basketball games were all close.
Yeah, it was all competitive. I mean, Spurs, Knicks, that was a solid game. I changed over to Celtics, Sixers and watched the end of that. That was pretty good. And then you had the thriller last night. Steph Curry back-to-back threes to tie the game. Then Austin Reeves for the game? Like, what? It's crazy.
Yeah. If you want one thing, a little bit of a Detroit connection when it comes to the NBA games yesterday, did we write off the Sixers too quickly? Are they at least a team that could be like a 6 seed if they're all healthy?
I need to see it in the playoffs, but regular season, sure.
Of course we have to see it in the playoffs. That's the whole question with guys like Embiid and Paul George and whatnot. But I think they could pass the Pistons, but that could also be okay. You know what I mean?
I think they could pass the Pistons, but I do believe that the teams ahead of the Pistons, there's a couple there that I believe the Pistons are going to pass.
Atlanta. I think they pass Atlanta.
Yeah. And you know why I believe the Pistons are passing some of these teams right now? Because of the point guard play. When you look at what's happening with the point guard rankings this year, as the Pistons are going up, guess who's also correspondingly leapfrogging those same teams and those same point guards? Cade Cunningham in the point guard rankings as it relates to stats and advanced metrics, as well as the Pistons as it relates to being a team climbing up this Eastern Conference. And I believe this. The Pistons have a good opportunity to be one of those squads they got to put it together. If they can continue this 500 stretch of basketball the rest of the way, they're going to be one of those teams that can also potentially stake a claim to a top 6 spot because you have teams ahead of them that are firmly planted in a position like the Heat that are going to break it down. They're sitting here saying, well, bro, Jimmy Butler has to be out of here before the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's and whether or not getting rid of Jimmy Butler is better for their future, it certainly isn't going to help them this year. No. And we love to see that. But you know what? The good news is we're going to talk more Pistons later with Mr. Rod Beard himself.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because I think we're just glazing over the best thing about yesterday, and it was Beyonce's halftime show.
It was fire.
I will say, I'm not a country fan, but she walked in, and she was absolutely dripping. Netflix literally put their whole big stick on the table, and they're like, we are showing up the Super Bowl.
The whole budget.
We are giving the whole budget to Houston, and you could see it with the broadcast crews that they brought in, with the halftime show, the teams that were playing, the fact that you couldn't change channels. Shout out to Jordan in the chat because it was on Netflix.
Kay Adams and Mina Kimes.
Right. Like,
both of them.
They know what they're doing.
The NFL
Netflix know what they're doing.
Knew what they were doing going to Netflix, and Netflix knew how to secure the bag. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Beyonce don't do a bad show though. She don't do a bad
she
performance.
does not. No.
I love when a take makes Flannel just smile, bro. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you guys feel that way. That doesn't really do a whole lot for me, if that's all right. I am the noted fun police, as I'm called many times. But do you know what is? Thank you for that. But do you know what is not the fun police? A Planet Fitness workout. That is not the fun police, because they've got 50+ Metro Detroit locations. You can go to any single one of them across the United States if you get the Black Card membership, or you could just get the cheaper one for $15 a month if you just want your home Planet Fitness, whether you want to actually follow through on your New Year's resolution and get more jacked, or you just want to wait or get prepared or pre-prepare for Beachbody season. It will be here before you know it. Planet Fitness is the place to go. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. With 10+ years of experience and 24/7 availability, scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
Hey, KDK Law got your back. Wake up, Woodward Sports has your back. And we hope in chat family that you have ours. Let's have a day, man. Go ahead and smash that like button. We in here talking Detroit sports, y'all. Hey, shout out to Dante151 with the $1.99 super chat. I think that's the second one of the day. Thank you for the support, Dante. Seriously.
Yeah.
We got some new stuff that's coming to the network that's going to better position, better feature, and better incentivize people like you, Dante, who do give super chats to be that much more involved and part of our show. It's going to be some pretty cool things, some pretty cool tiers, and as you support us, we want to make sure that you are also a part of the show. But he says, hey, some Texan fans want D'Amico Ryans fired. What?
Okay, all right.
Hey, yeah.
Let's
but you know
relax.
what? I know here in Detroit, we are very well and happy with our coaching staff here.
Yes, we are.
And that, you know, because we talk about the depleted Lions defense. Moving forward towards the Super Bowl run, they did beat the Bears 34-17. So no matter what, granularly, we want to look at and say, man, but they could do this better. And we did this. People did this with Cherry and Arnold. And we kept saying, but guys, calm down, because the defense is still putting other teams in a body bag right now. And so from that perspective, it's always been because Aaron Glenn has been able to dial up no matter what the deck is, no matter what cards he's been given, he's still been able to dial up a defense that's been able to help the Lions overcome. There's been a couple games where they gave up some points, but largely this team has been able to get it done to the tune of controlling their own destiny on the way to a number 1 seed in NFC.
Yes, and hopefully they will get it. They still have some work left to do. It's unfortunate they still have some work left to do, but they still do. And I think It's weird because when I watched the Chicago Bears game, obviously we saw a dominating win. Obviously we saw them get up 20-0 and then 27-7 and then 34-14, and it was all she wrote from there. And the defense did enough. 17 points, played bend but don't break, forced a couple of turnovers, although one of them was just Romo Dunze being Romo Dunze. Kind of talented player, but has some issues. All that is all well and good. If there were a couple of things, and I'm not saying that these are sky is falling because it's not even close to sky is falling, it's just given the fact that the Lions defense is so depleted still, you might be getting some reinforcements back with Alex Anzalone, but you're still a level of depleted. There were a couple of things that concerned me a bit in terms of a Super Bowl run, and I kind of want to talk it through with you guys in the room and in the chat, of course. Number one is Caleb Williams is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, and you only got to him twice on Sunday. I'm not saying he didn't pressure him. I'm not saying he didn't make him uncomfortable at times, but Caleb Williams, for a lot of the games he's played this season, is seeing ghosts by halftime, and it didn't look like he was against the Lions in this matchup. And one other thing is that there have been 3 quarterbacks this season who have thrown for 2+ touchdown passes against the Lions. One was Josh Allen on his MVP season, which is more than understandable. The other 2 were Caleb Williams in the 2 games the Lions have played this season without Carlton Davis. And for all of you, and you guys should really be worried because half of you in the chat, Ryan Leaf just dotted you up 2 games, right? That was a little this is my sarcastic face, but
yeah.
I guess I have a few small questions about whether or not still that the Ali McNeil and Carlton Davis is just a little bit of a bridge too far. I know people thought that I was done with this and that I was 100% back on board, and I am to some extent. I just got to see the matchups first, and I got to see how they perform against in their next super meaningful game.
Yeah, for me with the Lions, it's been this situation consistently though, where I've continued to just kind of step out on this plank of faith.
Sure.
And they've continued to come through. And for me, it goes back even before this year to last season, where Aaron Glenn just seems to understand NFL defenses, NFL coverages, and that he has this base set NFL scheme that at the very worst, if the Lions offense does what it does, they're still Super Bowl contenders, even with all of the losses that are there. And that's what makes me very, very confident about the Detroit Lions defense. You want to definitely see how they do against the 49ers,
sure.
Especially with this being their most recent house of horrors as it relates to the moment. And I want to see them go there. I'm serious. See them go there, see them go outside and just handle business. That's what I'm looking forward to in this game. I know we're going to break it more down tomorrow, but that's what I'm looking forward to, is just seeing, is this going to be that same team that we saw against the Bears, no matter what you saw granularly, but is this the same team that's going to go out there and at the end of the game, you're going to be seeing a team that's put up 30-plus points and held another team to 20 points plus or minus 3?
Yeah, like I'm not necessarily worried about the defense, and I do get your point, Sam. You know, we went against Caleb Williams with a better quarterback coming here and absolutely dice our defense up. I said this earlier in the week. I feel like the Lions are in a position now to where they have to rely on their secondary defensively in order to win a lot of these games, because let's just be real, your pass rush is just not the same as what it was when, you know, before Hutch and what you had prior. So they got to make do with what they have, and ultimately I feel like the secondary can go out there and win you games. Now, you will give up plays from time to time when you're relying on your secondary, but as long as that defensive line can get opportunistic sacks. I know they only got to the quarterback twice, but you got to think of when those sacks came. The Al-Qaeda Muhammad sack,
5 QB hits too.
Yep, there you go, and then my man Iffy with a big sack late in the game. So you just gotta rely on your secondary to go out there and be able to cover guys longer than they probably normally would have. But if they can find ways to manufacture a pass rush and just get opportunistic sacks and maybe even turnovers, then I feel like the defense will be fine, especially if the offense is playing their best ball.
Yeah, and you said a name in there too that's just getting started, just getting warmed up, and Iffy Melifonwu. Just looking at some of the hits that he lays, the Detroit Lions play an aggressive physical style of defense that we now know, whether they say it or not, we know it wears other teams down. It has other teams' wide receivers hearing footsteps. It has other teams' running backs doing well before and after they play the Lions, but not necessarily when they play the Lions. And when you add a guy like Iffy, when you have Jack Campbell who's playing out of his mind, when you have Brian Branch who's playing out of his mind, you just continue to look at the game after game, look at the solo tackles, look at the total tackles, look at the fact that these guys are all getting a pass deflected and a QB hit and things like that.
It's not like Caleb Williams was not like, it's not like he was comfortable.
No, I just think that, to honestly Sam's point, Caleb Williams, just like Ben Johnson says, he's not a slouch no matter how much. Look, as Lions fans, you're a slouch. As a person who has to look at the game for the game, he's not a slouch. It just is what it is. That freaking pass, I don't care what anyone says about the coverage. The pass to Keenan Allen was just perfect. Yeah. That just is what it is. He did some good things, and I believe that the Lions, when you play a quarterback like Caleb Williams, there's some things that you give up, especially when you have this many injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So that's where I'm just like, you know what, they have some dogs still out there, and that's what I believe is underestimated, because you can't really put a measure on their impact. You know that you can set a baseline, but then we keep seeing them go out there and be better than what everyone else believes. Right now, we can say, oh, Kirby and Brian Branch are the top two safeties in the NFL. People were not saying this to start the season, though. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. These guys have continued, no matter the adversity, to go out there and their dogs say, oh, we still got another gear and another level. And that has everything to do with who they are as people. And I do believe the position that these coaches are able to put them in, no matter the situation.
Yeah, and that is 100% fair. As I've said many times, there have been moments throughout the season when it seemed as though their injuries would hurt them more than they did, and they didn't. I just wonder if these are a couple too far. But I will say this, if you want a little bit of optimistic flannel, here.
What?
One thing, I know, right? That's never happened once in the history of this show, according to some people here, but that's neither here nor there. Amik Robertson played really well.
Yes.
I was very impressed with how he played, and I know the coaching staff was, and playing outside corner is very familiar to him, because last year I thought was very, very good with the Raiders in primarily an outside corner role, and he showed that he can do a nice job. And obviously, Ife Melifonwu being back, that was huge. Yep. He was a little up and down. You could see a little bit of rust, but he also made some plays. So you have to give him that. I think the question is, with Terrion Arnold, and in this context, because I know KG is like throwing daggers at me right now.
I'm watching.
Terrion Arnold, in the role that he was in with Carlton Davis, with the best safety duo in the NFL, he was insulated enough so that he was effective. In some ways, he was insulated, but also he was left on an island a lot too. And he was, I think, up and down, but did enough for the Lions to win games. The question is an Amik Robertson, Iffy, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph secondary, is that the type of secondary that gives Terrion Arnold the proper help to where he's not just like CB1? I think on paper it can be, but I also wonder if, let's just say if this Vikings game matters, and I'm not saying that the Vikings are going to win or anything like that. I'm just saying against Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson, that's the type of game where I'm going to look at and be, is this depleted defense, which is still depleted, by the way, is it going to be enough to hold them up to the Super Bowl? I think that game will tell a lot.
Yeah, it will, and that's why I am looking forward to players like who made the biggest play, one of the biggest plays in the last game of last season against the Vikings. It was Iffy to clinch the NFC North Division title. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Like, remember the players that were playing then. Mm-hmm. I sometimes I'm feeling like with this defense, wax that defense of during that same Vikings game. But when you're talking about Iffy getting a couple games to kind of get comfortable and being one of those secondary members that can play at all three levels effectively, that's where I'm like, you know what, that's a big, big piece back. And you know what, Phil says this, sad to see David Long Jr. let go, but these 10 players are the first to go. And then, where was it at? Somebody else teed it up, but Jalen Reeves-Maben is going to be back as well. Mm-hmm. At this point in time, I know that's the special teams captain and one of the leaders of this team, but we also know that he can also moonlight at linebacker. Yeah, I will take you already know, all the linebacker help we can get right now. All of it.
That's our weakest spot, yeah.
Because then you talk about insulating Terrion Arnold, man, and if you can just, whatever Sam Darnold is looking up and he's just seeing whatever jerseys we wear all in front of him, because I get it. The pass rush, we're going to try and manufacture, but there's so much lost there to the point that Jalen Reeves-Maven, to me, is looking like a freaking ribeye steak. And back at linebacker, I'm like, okay, Jack Campbell, you got some help, buddy.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is what makes me believe that, you know what, we can better insulate Terran Arnold. And then I love Amik Robertson, but the height limitations sometimes get him. I believe that getting this back in there, Jalen Reeves-Maven, if he having another week where he's feeling comfortable and knows now, I was truck sticking people. I'm more comfortable with where they are defensively.
And we have Anzalone coming back as well.
Yes,
hopefully
sir.
for the Vikings game, and that could unlock everything because Alex Anzalone, he's when he's healthy, he's one of the
Flannel
better.
claws.
Yes, he is one of the better linebackers in the NFC. At least.
He makes the NFC North cry. We've heard all of them cry specifically about him. So
yeah,
and I think moving forward, one of your most important players, and he's been a guy who's been incredibly important and has made a lot of plays on this defense already, is Zadarius Smith. I think Zadarius Smith, in order for the Lions to get to their goal, which is win the Super Bowl, you're going to need him to play like a star. And for a lot of the season, he has, both with Cleveland and with Detroit. I don't think he necessarily did in this last game against Chicago. They didn't need him to, and that's all well and good. But Zadarius Smith might be what really unlocks everything, because he's been a guy who has came in and did his best to replace and play that Hutch role. And he's done that, I think, very, very well. But I do think in a playoff game, in a divisional round game, in a conference championship, in a Super Bowl, hell, even in Week 18 against the Vikings, if it matters, it might come down to Zadarius Smith putting Sam Darnold on his ass, putting like a Matthew Stafford or Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts or somebody like that, making him uncomfortable, putting him on his ass for a sack, even hitting him a couple of times, because Zadarius Smith, to me, is the key, especially with Aleem and Hutch being out, to this pass rush being as effective as its ceiling can be.
Yep, and you know what? I see you, Dirty Dr. D, in the chat. He says, CD, Carlton Davis isn't out for the season, folks. This will be 2 weeks out, and he'll be out, 4 more?
Yeah, I think the expectation is maybe the Super Bowl.
Yes. Or
Just
NFC
get there, man.
Championship.
Just get there.
Get there. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this team, they're playing on something different right now. It's just whatever Dan Campbell and that mojo that's going on in there, logic is being defied, just like with the Chiefs, and it's because they have special players, like what we said with Josh Allen against the Bills. Like, when I look at it, I'm like, man, Josh Allen's doing everything for them right now. Yes, they had a good defensive scheme to start the game, but Josh Allen was just that difference maker. On our side of the ball, I do believe, aside from what Dan Campbell is as a coach, Jared Goff, man, I look forward to him being the guy that will be able to go out there and effectively get us 30, 35 points every game. Like the Vikes are going to have to put up like 42 to beat us. That's just how I feel.
They got to I mean, that's the Lions' ultimate card too, is even if the defense does continue to struggle, even if the most unfortunate thing happens and maybe Carlton Davis and Aiden Hutchinson aren't back for the Super Bowl, you can still outscore teams. Yeah. Is that going to take them all the way to the Super Bowl when you go up against better offenses? Time will tell, but the Lions, their offense was already great last year, and it's even better this year, and they are the number one scoring offense in the NFL. And when you have that at your disposal, when you have an offense that you expect against any team to put up 30 points, oftentimes the defense needs to make a stop or two, or hell, maybe the offense, maybe a quarterback just makes a dumb play, maybe a running back just has a dumb fumble. It happens all of the time when the lights get the brightest.
This Lions team is opportunistic.
Very
they
opportunistic.
lunge on turnovers, man. They have wins to thank because of turnovers. They have changed complexity of games. A la the Bears game with 2 turnovers in the first quarter. The entire complexity of the game changed, and we know that there was other games just like that where you take the win from underneath some of these other team sails, and they're just done when you're playing this Lions team. And that's where, if this squad, like all out defense, especially when you talk about a guy like Amik Robertson, who is targeting, trying to make sure that he forces a turnover, how comforting to know, all right, just get our offense a couple turnovers and the game is done. Yeah. In the first quarter. Like, that's, I don't know, they're set up for it at the very least.
A lot of this is going to be on the offense. I mean, this is the waters that we are in now. We are too depleted on defense to rely consistently on the defense. It's going to be on Jared Goff and his arm. And let's not forget, last year they made it to the NFC Championship with a bottom 5 defense. So it is very much possible. You just have to make opportunistic plays and make plays when it matters. And I think they'll be okay.
Yes, but getting to the NFC Championship is a failed season, though. I'm not saying that's their expectation.
Sure. I'm not saying that's the ceiling. I'm just saying they did get there with a bad defense, so it's not like it can't be done.
And their offense is better than it was last year, and their defense, even though it's been so depleted, it's still better. It's still a top 10 points allowed per game defense in the NFL.
Man, if we had this
insane.
defense last year, we probably in the Super Bowl.
And you know what?
Yeah.
As constructed right now.
As
I'm
big play as
confident in
J-Mo is, something I can't shake this feeling that they are still keeping him under wraps. I think they realize, like, you know what I mean, how teams, they try to make sure, look, if we can beat teams this way, we don't have to go out there and unleash this.
Yeah.
But something is telling me that there's a version of this Lions offense where Goff and J-Mo are literally connecting for 100 yards a game. And it doesn't take much.
It don't.
It doesn't take much. And that's why I'm just like, man, this offense, we know it has to go to another gear. You got Ben Johnson. He's not just auditioning for the Bears job. He's auditioning to have autonomy. I go where I want to go.
Yeah.
This is going to be a huge proving ground for him. What up, though, that dude, Justin?
I completely agree.
Dope hat.
I think, thank you. I think last week you saw it. There was twice Jameson Williams ran crossing routes across the middle where he blew by guys. They couldn't even touch him. And I think that people are starting to realize it because, to me, Jameson Williams is around the top 25 mark of wide receivers in the NFL. He just doesn't have the stats to back that up at this point because of the fact he doesn't have the opportunity. He has the talent. He's shown the drive. He's just continuously gotten better. I am so excited for Jameson Williams to be a consistent contributor to this offense. He already is, but he can give more. You saw the college tape. He is one of those receivers where you feel like, oh, I'm watching Jamar Chase in college. I'm that level of prospect, and that is who Jameson Williams is and who Jameson Williams can be. Jameson Williams' ceiling was always higher than Amon-Ra St. Brown's. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the better receiver, but Jameson Williams' ceiling is still higher than Amon-Ra St. Brown's.
That big playability is crazy.
And at the time that they did draft J-Mo, just to kind of back up what Justin was saying, there were a lot of questions as to, okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown is really good. Can he be your number one? I remember those conversations around that time, and I do think that played a part into them drafting a Jameson Williams. I think the thought process at the time is maybe in 3 to 4 years he could be that number one receiver. But
they fell into first world problems trying to hedge their bet.
Right.
That's beautiful.
But they wanted to solidify the offense, and you needed the over-the-top threat. You needed that over-the-top threat for that.
You're right.
The only thing I will say,
they make each other better, in my opinion.
Because I know Flannel about to go. I seen his face.
I want to hear.
So I'm trying to put some context on it for you go crazy.
The only thing I will say, because I heard some just complete and utter nonsense from Neil Rule talking about how, if J-Mo got just as many targets, he'd be better than Justin Jefferson, or just as good. Either one is lunacy at this point. And this is with all due respect to Jameson Williams. It's just that, to me, there's a reason why guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown and the CeeDee Lambs of the world, why every single year they not only lead the league in receptions and receiving yards, they also get targeted all of the time. It's not just that, Jared Goff just doesn't want to throw to J-Mo every single play. I think that's part of their offense, and I also don't think that Jameson Williams is in their guys' class right now. Can you say that he has a big play ability at times? Can you say that he can take the top off the defense as well as just about anybody? Sure, but the way that the offense works right now, it is still Amon-Ra's receiving room. He is still the man because he's the guy that they give all of the targets to.
Sam, I do agree with that.
Okay.
I do think it's just how their offense is set up, but why is that such a crazy statement?
Because Justin Jefferson, if he retired right now, he'd be in the Hall of Fame, dude.
I just mean from a standpoint that, that if J-Mo did have similar target numbers, I feel like we could see similar numbers. I don't think that's the craziest thought in the world.
This version of J-Mo,
last year not so much. This year, absolutely.
I do believe that he's shown to be better with his hands, better with his route running, better even with some of the things we saw last year when you throw him the short route or the screen or the bubble. And it's like you see him being able to make those moves and make those defenders miss. Even against the Bears when he caught it in the middle of the field, going right, and then decided, no, I'm going left. I'm like, no, bro, you're going to lose your forward progress. He's like, no, I'm getting another 10 yards. That's just him. And I believe that the more and more that he and Jared Goff get in a rhythm, and the more that Jameson Williams continues to keep the noise to a minimum, and when the noise is there, look, the team said, hey, listen, we stand behind our guy. That, you know, and as long as he continues to do that, keep the noise down, I believe that what we're seeing out of Jameson Williams, you get more targets. I'm not saying he's going to be Justin Jefferson, but as it relates to the Detroit Lions, I can see him being a guy realistically that week in, week out, you're not surprised if you say, oh, J-Mo can have 100 total yards.
Yeah, like averaging that.
To me should be something we can expect
because
running and passing.
He has probably the best skill set in the NFL in terms of speed. Speed kills in the NFL, especially offensively. He has an elite skill, an elite trait. So I feel like if they were to utilize that just a little bit more, then this offense could reach even another level. And that's crazy to say just based on, you know, what Ben Johnson has done with this offense and all the parts that it consists of and how they all perform. But if I'm just saying, when you have somebody with that kind of speed, if you were to target him a little bit more, I feel like that would yield better results. But that's just
No,
me.
and
That's why I don't think it's the craziest thought in the world. I don't. But
well, and also he's going to get 1,000 yards this season, and I'm going to get a jersey. What he's doing, what he's doing right now is fine.
As a number two, but but go ahead.
It's just, why do we have to invoke Justin Jefferson? I even see Phil in the chat.
I get it.
It's like, let him at least finish his first 1,000-yard season first, which he's going to do, by the way. I believe he is going to do. But we're talking about dudes who are putting together Hall of Fame resumes in 5 years and being like, J-Mo's better. I want to die. And I love J-Mo.
It's
like, why do we got to do this?
Happy holiday.
You're taking people too literally. I can see the path, though.
Hey,
I see the path.
Dante 151 with the $9.99 super chat. I want the Lions to beat the 49ers in that rat Brock Purdy. So bad. So bad.
Right. Shout out the flagship.
That rat Brock Purdy so badly that the 49ers want to be in Cancun right now instead of having to play one more week. Lions 45, 49ers 17. Forward down the field. And I will caution this. You talk about knowing that you can change the complexity of narratives around you if you're the 49ers and you beat the Lions this late in the season, because people are going to give them the whole, well, they were injured, they were this, they were
can
that.
Beat us and still won't make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs. But if I'm in Cancun knowing that, hey, at least I got that dub, I'm just saying don't take them lightly.
No.
You go into their house, just go in there and handle business.
For sure.
Put them down.
Yeah.
Just put them down.
And just a quick little tidbit on the whole 49ers thing, which has been another one of those occurrences this year, which I think we can all hang our hat on. After last season, when we were talking about best quarterbacks in the NFC, I personally thought that you had to give the nod to Brock Purdy. But now it's very clear that Jared Goff is above Brock Purdy. And I'm not saying that everything that's happened this season has been Brock Purdy's fault. However,
he's ass.
He's not ass, Justin. Come on. He's not ass. But
but are you paying him $55 million to quarterback your team for the next 4 years?
It's the market, but no.
Exactly. It's the market, but would you pay him? And the answer is no.
He's a shorter Sam Darnold. We know what he is. Let's be real here.
He's a shorter Sam Darnold.
I think he's a product of the system. Yeah. I need to see him elsewhere in order to make a better determination on him. But as of right now, he's a product of that system. He is.
All right. Saying he's ass, though, is insane to me. But that's okay.
I ain't saying yes. I'm just...
this guy.
J Hart 199
he's
super
good
chat.
with Kyle Shanahan behind him.
Fellas, I think it's safe to say we have 2 wide receiver ones.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's fine. But you know what else is fine? More than fine. Calling it fine is an understatement. Woodward in Maine and the pregame show. Because with Woodward in Maine, you get analysis from the legendary Foster and the up-and-coming rising star Matt Broder, whose talents we are very, very familiar with, both of them. For both of them, for that matter.
Young legend,
and then, of course, afterwards, you have to go on to the New Holland Brewing pregame show hosted by these extraordinary gentlemen right there. That was
Neil after that 5 OT Hawaii experience that he had yesterday. Shout out Neil.
Nobody gives a damn about the Hawaii Bowl except Neil.
But Neil does.
I do.
I know Neil had a
But
blast.
anywho, both of those are sponsored by Sabbath Coffee Roasters, Tullamore Irish Whiskey, and it's the best Lions game day coverage that you can ask for in the entire world. So please, when we have game days coming up next with this following Monday, the San Francisco 49ers game, tune in to Woodward in Maine and tune into the pregame show.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry! Offer ends December 20th.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or saving a quiet morning with Wake Up Woodward, that is, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. All you got to do, head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com, choose your favorite roast, use code Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awaken and wine, support local and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. We are back, man. This Wake Up Woodward. Had a good time with the family for Christmas yesterday. You know what? Talked to the crew as well. They had a good time, but it feels like getting back in the saddle. It's work. It's a grind. But you know what? It's Detroit sports. Woodward is quiet right now. Yeah, usually this street is just
This
cars.
building is quiet.
Yeah. The whole building is quiet. But you know what? We in here talking about our Detroit Lions, man. Let's go. Lions, baby. Word to Ryan Ermanni. And you know what? We were talking a little bit about J-Mo. And there's some people who, they believe in him. But then there's some other people out there who like, you know what? Man, y'all talking about Megatron numbers. With here, Corey Berry. Y'all talking Megatron numbers. Even if J-Mo was capable of that, I prefer not to rely on one man that much. And to the point that I believe more so that even Flannel was saying, Amon-Ra is one of those receivers that works at being great. And I believe that Jamison Williams wants to be great. I believe he works hard. But we hear that as a leader standpoint, setting the standard, we now see that, listen, there was a previous standard of what good receivers did, but Amon-Ra has taken himself and put himself in a completely different category by doing all of the extra stuff, and it shows up on the field. He's one of those guys that you know you can rely on to make the catches. He's one of those guys you know you can rely on to make the blocks. He's one of those guys you know you can rely on to come up with the big play. And more so than any time in his career, now he has somebody that's able to open up the underneath routes even more for him. And what we've been able to see, even against the Bears game, we were able to see Jared Goff and Amon-Ra connect several times well beneath the sticks. One, I believe, for a touchdown, and one for a first down, for a very important first down against the Bears. You guys remember the touchdown, he looked like a pinball bouncing off of all the defenders. Yeah. And I was like, what? They threw that to Amon-Ra. Like, it looked like he was just dead to rights. But it was a touchdown. And those are the type of things, it's like defiance of logic as it relates to the Lions. Like, yeah, he might not have the blazing speed. He might not have the catch radius. But he's Amon-Ra St. Brown. And that, to me, is what, when I heard Flannel speaking, I'm like, yeah, there's something different about Amon-Ra. He's just one of those guys that it doesn't matter about the height or the this or that.
That boy got everything else.
That dude. But then when you talk about Jamison Williams, now all of a sudden the defense has to choose. Who are you going to put the extra coverage on? Because on Sam Laporta's touchdown, we saw when J-Mo came streaking across the field, all of the secondary followed him. Even one of the linebackers took off running after him. And that whole back of the end zone was wide open. And that's what we see happening for Amon-Ra as well. So I do believe these two, they complement each other so well. So well.
They're good for each other. And I think that's what the most important thing should be, and something that even I'm taking away, even if you thought I sprinkled a little haterade in there in the last segment, which I clearly did not if you actually listened. But anywho,
I think you were giving Amon-Ra more of what he deserves. And it's more than what I believe any of us really give him. He doesn't really get talked about as much as he should.
Well, Amon-Ra, I
don't believe he does.
I will say this about Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then I will pass it over to you, KG.
Right.
In his own way, he is putting up Megatron-like numbers. Obviously, it looks a little bit different. He's smaller. Even though he's definitely not a slot merchant, he gets more of his numbers from the slot. But still, you're looking at 3 consecutive seasons of over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards. Those are Hall of Fame trajectory type numbers. So even if he doesn't look like Megatron, even if he's not the physical freak that Megatron was, even if he's never going to be the wide receiver that Megatron was, the numbers he's putting up are among the best of the best in the National Football League right now.
No, absolutely. He's the best receiver you've had since Megatron. Let's just be real about it. Like, his year-to-year improvement as a receiver has been absolutely amazing. From the time in 2021 where they decided, hey, middle of the season, we're going to give this kid some more looks. He has absolutely taken off and run with it, and he doesn't need all the physical attributes when you got this up here. He is one of the highest IQ offensive players in the league right now. And it doesn't matter how you guard him, he will find ways to beat you. He is that damn good. He will find ways to bust up his own coverage. He can beat you in man coverage. And he doesn't drop the ball. Like, most of the time,
he can catch it tightly covered.
The couple games that we've seen him drop the ball this year, we've all sat up here and said, that is so uncharacteristic. Like, that shit just don't happen with some guy, man. To the point where you let it fly. Like, yeah, we might have lost the game because of that, but it's Amon-Ra. It's cool, man. He gonna get it back. We already know, but his work ethic and just the IQ of what he can do on the offensive side of the ball is the greatest attributes that he's brought to this team, and that's why he has so much success in technically being the Lions' #1 receiver.
And you're talking about, when we talk about this logic aspect of why it's so difficult to just bury the Detroit Lions, and I think a lot of it has to do with this one word that we realize we can apply to a lot of the Detroit Lions players and coaches. Their IQ, their football intelligence is just something else. Their ability to be able to create and to think on spot, their ability to go out there and you see Jared Goff at the line of scrimmage and that whole team is just on point. This is a sign of just a well-coached and a well-led team, not just from the coaches, but their leaders on the field as well. And that's the aspect that I wanted to highlight about Amon-Ra St. Brown. For everything that Jamison Williams is doing to show that he's making those necessary improvements, Amon-Ra is the bell cow. He's the one that is setting the standard, and you see it play out on the field. And when you talk about that IQ, that to me is why I am very, very bullish on these Detroit Lions, because even more so than last year, I believe this team took a step forward even in that department. They look smarter on the field. They look like they understand how to just play a little bit more, maybe backyard football. Now all of a sudden you can see Jared Goff, if he scrambles out, looking Amon-Ra certain ways, making the play, and it's like dope every single time. And it's just like, I like that. And to be able to be that possession receiver, the guy that you can throw him this many targets and he's going to come down with that many catches, and it's going to go for, at the end of the game, you're looking like, wait, he had 98 yards and a touchdown? I didn't even see that. But it's what he is. That's what Amon-Ra St. Brown is.
Yep. Let's take a little break and then talk a little more Lions when we come back. Tell us about Lady Jane's, and then Justin, you got Caesars.
Hey, listen, walk in any Lady Jane's haircuts for men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a $20 haircut special, scalp massage, hot lather, neck shave, and a hot towel treatment for one of our talented stylists. Take advantage of our $20 haircut special. If you scan that QR code, you'll find it probably before I do. You'll get that coupon today, and you're able to take advantage of that special. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. It's wicked awesome.
And let me tell you about Caesars. If I could
make some money,
if you could place any bet up to $1,000 and not lose, and you can get the bet back? What do you think? I'm crazy? Well, scan this QR code above, enter the code Woodward1000, and your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get your deposit back up to $1,000. That's right, up to $1,000 back. Just give it a shot. Minimum bet, just $20. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app today, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports. Use code Woodward1000 or scan the QR code right above my screen to get your bonus bet today.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry! Offer ends December 20th.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Attention, sports fans. Listen, it's time to tap in with the Injury Sports Insider with Dr. Jeff Pierce. He is on Big D Energy every Tuesday, and he's on Ermanni and Edwards every Thursday. And this is Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. You guys got to trust the guy that DMAC trusts. He's here breaking down everything. And this season more than any other, Dr. Pierce has been very, very busy at breaking down these injuries to the Detroit Lions, talking about the rehab and recovery process ahead. And even before, there were certain injuries along the way that he was like, this one isn't as serious. This one is as serious. And he has been right along the way. Why? Because Dr. Pierce knows this stuff, man. He is the absolute man. And that's why DMAC trusts him. He's here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com and stay tapped in with Woodward Sports. Hey, what up, though, people? We are back, and you know what? I hear we're gonna have the legend on pretty soon. I can't wait. But it is Wake Up Woodward. You know what, chat family? Go ahead and hit that like button if you didn't get the opportunity to. And Flannel.
Yes.
Do you think you're getting that jersey after this 49ers game?
No. Oh. I think it's going to take
it to the last game of the year, huh?
Yeah,
you just want to stretch it out.
I ask people, like, you know what, chat family, let me know. Tell me in the chat, y'all, is he getting this jersey after the 49ers game? J-Mo needs 110 yards. he has performed well against the 49ers.
Bro. He gonna get that shit.
What up, KG? What do you think? How's this going down?
Well,
paint the picture. How is he getting his jersey?
I know how this Lions team operates, and say what you want about Goff and the MVP. The reason they came out throwing in that Bills game is because they wanted to give Goff the opportunity to go out there and try to win it. And, you know, with J-Mo being close to 1,000 yards, I think they realized how much of a milestone that would be for him. And I think they do give him some more looks in this particular game. And if he doesn't get it in this game, he'll for sure get it in the Minnesota game. But look for a big game from J-Mo because, I mean, who on the San Francisco defense are you really worried about covering this guy?
Maybe Lenore, but still, like, I'm not saying he can, but
we saw him outrun a bracketed man coverage last week, man. Like, J-Mo is something different, man. He in his bag right now, and I just feel like they will try to give him some more looks so he can hit that 1,000-yard mark.
It's just, here's the thing. When we watch Jamison Williams and Jared Goff connect on that deep ball, when we've watched him connect for others throughout the season, we act like it's something that they can just do every single game. Like, even the Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill combination, they didn't hit like a 60-yarder every game.
But
even
Tyreek is not J-Mo, though. I'm just
okay.
Yeah.
Even the Deshaun Jackson, where he was just the master of the go route, they didn't hit one every single game. It's the NFL. Like, there's going to be days where you live more in the middle, where you live more with Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's going to be days where you hit J-Mo for a deep ball.
And that's fine. You can live in the middle with J-Mo. He'll chop you up there, too.
But the thing this is the thing with J-Mo.
Am I wrong?
But with J-Mo, it's either feast or famine almost. It's almost like if you're going to target him, he's going to get big yards. With these other players, they get more consistent targets. But as it relates to J-Mo and his big yard and his big playability per play, this is something that I haven't quite really seen. When we had Megatron here, J-Mo was going out there as a big play receiver, like every time he's touching the ball, and it's just like, this is pretty insane. If they can keep that pace up as they increase the targets, that's where I do believe he has a good opportunity to make sure.
Facial reactions to this are just
make sure you're getting that jersey. You know what? Let's get the legend on here real quick. We got to talk this real quick, and then we'll transition quickly into talking about one of our currently positioned postseason teams. Hey, legend Rod Beard, sports editor-in-chief of the Detroit News. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Thank you for jumping on the pod. Like, hey guys, I know it's Christmas. I know Wednesday's usually the day.
Yeah.
I want to drop by Thursday, bro. It's good to see you, man.
Audio good, I know it is.
Gentlemen,
hey!
gentlemen.
Yeah.
Happy Thursday this week.
Hey, happy Thursday, brother. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Justin said you were making some faces during the discourse.
Hey, man. Flannel Sam has a logical reason why J-Mo won't get 1,000 yards. However, you are dealing with an offensive coordinator who is a certified madman.
Yeah.
Who put together a stumble Rooski just to put it, and who throws the ball to offensive linemen just for fun.
Yeah.
Like, this dude has way too much time on his hands, and he remembers everything.
They getting J-Mo that 1,000.
How much has Dan Skipper been in the playbook this year? No one offensive coordinator is doing. They remember everything, and they are spiteful and vengeful.
Yep.
And they're going to get J-Mo 1,000 yards.
You got to talk.
Maybe 1,200.
Book it.
Okay. Maybe,
I tried to tell him,
1,200.
I tried to tell him, Ryan. He don't listen. He don't listen.
I said he's going to get it in week 18. Not that he wasn't going to get it, but that's actually a very good counterpoint. I've called Ben Johnson the pettiest human being in the NFL.
That is true.
And that's true. That's very true.
And outside, maybe.
Yes.
Oh, man. Hey, let me see here. People in the chat, man, they're saying what up, though. They even got questions for Rod. But, hey, Rod, just these lines real quick before we switch focus. We talked about this in the beginning of the show, the depleted defense, but they still find ways to get by. They still have their destiny in their own hands as it relates to getting a number one seed, giving themselves an opportunity to get just a little bit healthier and bolster up to try and make a run to a Super Bowl. What's your level of concern as it relates to Detroit Lions defense, or is this a situation where, Aaron Glenn has proven that, no matter what the deck of cards is, he's going to make something happen?
Yeah, I think there's reason for concern. The pass rush is still something that's just kind of worrisome. Sam Darnold's not going to run all over you, and Brock Purdy may or may not I think you just got to play solid D all around on the back end of that, and that'll cover up a lot of the blemishes you have.
Yeah, definitely. And just I want to be able to shift gears a little bit because obviously we know that the Detroit Lions have already secured themselves a playoff spot, but a team that honestly, through a gauntlet of a beginning of a schedule, has kind of surprised a little bit. They find themselves currently in playoff positioning, postseason positioning. That's the Detroit Pistons. And the way that things could happen to end the season, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see for them because, the trade deadline, because there are some teams ahead of them that are looking to break things down. There are some teams behind them that are looking to break things down. And just looking at the makeup of the squad, the ascension of 1K Cunningham, I want to be able to get the legend properly drum-rolled in here and then be able to just get Rod's thoughts and then get into swish or break. But we got to talk about this squad. Hey, listen. Since starting the season 0-4, Rod, they've played 500 basketball. We're through the 30 games. And they're playing over 400, 41, 42% basketball right now. Just shy of 500 basketball. I think that they're actually going to get there for the season. So let's get this drum roll going. And got to get Rod's thoughts. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend. Detroit News, Rod Beard, brother. Hey, Woodward Pistons segment in effect. You got to take it away with Rod's thoughts.
I'm not scared of the East.
Thank you. Thank
Pistons, you do not need to be afraid of the East. Boston looked vulnerable. The Knicks the Knicks look good. Injuries for Orlando. Milwaukee is who we thought they were. Jimmy Butler is trying to get out of Miami. Who are they going to be after that?
Year.
That might open up that extra spot that you're looking at where the Pistons need to move up and get into a 9 spot, 10 spot. Who knows?
Yeah. And that's the thing. They have, for the majority of the season, found themselves, for the majority of the season, in that postseasoning position, 10th spot. And if they've a couple times have slipped right out of that last play-in spot, but then the right next game, they go and they win a couple, which is something different than last year. Last year, it was like they would win one, and then you knew they were going to string together about 10 losses. This year, They lose one, and the team looks mad. They look angry. They look grumpy. JB Bickerstaff looks heated. This is way different, too. Like, JB comes in, and he's just like, nah, bro, that was on me. That ain't happening again. Now, last year, in contrast, Monty Williams would step to the table and say that's on me, and then it would happen again. But this team has stepped down and looked like a completely different team following some of their losses as they have climbed out of an 0-4 hole to be 500, 13-13 over those last 26 games of the season. And to me, that's where I'm like, you know what? Especially with when you look at what's going on with the teams around them, and I know you're always looking at who are those 5 teams the Pistons can be better than. When you do that exercise, there's more than 5 teams that I'm actually believing the Pistons are currently better than. And Cade Cunningham and what he's doing this year, putting up an all-star caliber campaign, that has a lot to do with it too.
Right, and I think it's starting to come against some of the premier teams that who thought they were going to go out west and take these first couple of games against Phoenix and the Lakers. And those are the premier type games, and you need LeBron and KD saying that Cade is at that level right now. That's when people start to listen. The national people start to listen and say, yeah, this kid is that next dude. So they can't finish worse than 500 on this road trip, but they have to figure out who they are. We can't play the schedule game with them and say they're going to win this game. There have been too many games where I had already chalked up the Lakers and Phoenix as losses.
I chalked up the Utah one as a win.
Mm-hmm. Right, but the Utah one was a win. The Charlotte one should have been a win. A lot of these that should have been wins are losses, and they've beaten teams that they shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. So they have the moxie on a day-to-day basis. You don't know what you're going to get, which is good in sort of a way, but it's also bad that you got to be able to count on some things and say, we're going to go out and play Pistons basketball today and beat these good teams and beat some of these bad teams too. That's how you get over 500.
Man, hey, you know what? That is a word. And just real quick, all-star voting is in effect. You guys heard it from KD. You've heard it from LeBron James. JB Bickerstaff and Cade's teammates have all talked about it as well. This man is deserving of an all-star appearance this season. And I do believe he's going to get there. When you got KD and LeBron James, probably the guys who are going to be some of your top vote getters, it's probably going to be a team KD and a team LeBron this year. I believe that if those guys are saying Cade should be in, think about that. They want to be able to play with this guy during the All-Star weekend. I want to see that personally, and I want to see Cade kind of be able to get his due. ESPN earlier in the season did put out that they predict he will be a first-time All-Star this year, and that, you know what, if the Pistons are just sniffing around play-in spot, he's going to get that nod. They're there.
And think back to what we said at the beginning. We were looking at these top 100 lists, and Cade was, 74 or 72.
Crazy.
How silly that is now to even look at that. This is what we thought Cade would be by this point in the season, and he's living up to that billing.
Hey, you know what? Let's get into this swish or brick. KG,
Break.
you ready? Swish or brick,
am.
man. Let's rock, man.
All
Let's
right.
get this thing going.
All right, we only got a few of these here. If I come up with one, I'll let you know. But
Yes, sir.
these are, just some general statements about where the Pistons are at currently, and I'll save the top one for last because it's something that we kind of caused controversy with earlier in the week, but the first one being, after assessing lineups, are they the best as is, both starters and bench?
I like to tell you guys this all the time. Give it 25 to 30 games, and after assessing and seeing how this team is kind of working and seeing that they are playing 500 basketball since an 0-4 start, and Malik Beasley is really picking up that bench when one of the vets aren't going, that right now this is the best lineups, both starters and bench. Swish or brick, Flannel Sam?
I am going to go with swish, and I understand there's some recency bias given that the game that they played at Los Angeles was the best that I've seen their bench look, but we know what Malik Beasley has done. He's put together a 6 Man of the Year caliber season. We know what Tim Hardaway can do in spurts. And Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, even though I've had my doubts, they've proven to fit together better than I thought maybe that they could. And coaching has a lot to do with that. I think the wild card is Tobias Harris. But as of right now, I will say swish.
Yep, definitely. That dude, Justin, what about you, brother?
I'm currently trying to get some stuff on
Oh,
social,
you're good.
so
You're
don't
good.
worry about me.
Hey, KG.
Slight brick, in and out, man, because I'm worried about Tobias at forward. I've been worried about Tobias at forward. I just don't know if, throughout the rest of the season, you can rely on him to be your starting forward and essentially your third scoring option on this team. So I don't know, man. Maybe if you put Asar in there, maybe try some things with that, I'd be okay with that because, like I said, he's a defensive weapon. You can utilize him in so many ways defensively. It kind of makes up for his offense.
And he has a facilitation mindset.
Yes, it will. You will lose some floor spacing. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like his ability to get to the basket and drive and kick, and also his ability on defense, it kind of can make up for that. But I'm interested to hear what Rod has to say.
Yeah, chat is kind of mixed right now too. The Real K77 says brick. Dante151 says swish. Tobias is finally waking up, and he did make some plays down the stretch there.
Right,
Offensively, I don't know. But Rod Beard, what say ye? Swish or brick? The starters and the bench, they're good as is after the Pistons have gone 500 basketball the last 26 games.
They're good as is for now. You can go up to the trade deadline and kind of see what you're working with, but you might be able to make some more moves and try to freshen that up a little bit. Tobias is going to find his rhythm, I think.
Okay.
It just takes a little bit longer than we think, but if you're playing well right now, and we talked about this before, should we tinker with the starting lineup and put Malik Beasley in the starting lineup? No, just let it be and let that thing cook for a little bit, and we'll see what it looks like in January.
Yeah, and you know what? They give themselves that opportunity because of the fact that they started 13 and 17. A lot of people didn't believe they'd win a game in their first 10. And instead, they came out of that first 10, first 12 with a 500 record and sitting in postseason position. So, or just under 500. I think they were like a game under. And so this is interesting. But let's get to question number 2, KG.
All right, question 2 in swish or brick. Would it be the wrong strategy to go for just draft picks and castaway players at the trade deadline?
So the report here is that the Detroit Pistons are going to be one of the major players with the most cap space at the trade deadline, $14 million in cap space. They're the only team that can be that big of a player as it relates to helping other teams facilitate deals. And that the Pistons are reportedly positioning themselves to be able to take on the junk to make some of these other deals go through, but they're looking for draft capital. Now, this is a year where the draft is supposed to be pretty deep. And if you look at what Trajan Langdon has already done with a Ron Holland and a Bobby Clintman, you know that he's a guy that does his homework because those guys are looking like some ballers. We're still waiting to see Bobby Clintman on the Pistons floor, but for everything we've seen up to this point, he's looking like he's going to be a player. And so is that the right strategy, though, for the Detroit Pistons, who they could try and utilize what they have right now to go and get either this year, next year, the year coming, a major player? Or do you believe it's the right thing right now to be positioned to take on other people's junk and draft picks? I'll start with you.
God. why you got to come at me with that one? That one is tough. I would say that swish in terms of taking on other people's junk in draft picks just for now, because they're still a team that is multiple years away from being a true contender in the East. We love what they're doing. We love that they're positioning themselves for a play-in, but they're not going to get past like a Boston or a Cleveland or even Milwaukee anytime soon. So I will say swish for now, but reluctantly.
They will if they have Jimmy Buckets.
Hey, because I'm saying there are people that are out there, but it's looking like now the Detroit Pistons are going to be a team that is going to help to facilitate these guys being traded rather than trade for one. But what did say ye, KG? Would you rather see them go and find a way to get an Ingram, a Levine, a Butler, or even one of those players, John Collins, even out in Utah?
Yeah, I think it would be
draft picks.
I think it would be the wrong strategy to just get anybody and some draft picks to add to this team, because there's a lot of holes left on this roster. That's one thing. A lot of holes left on this roster. A lot of room for improvement. But also, when you just look at, there's a lot of people out on the market, it seems like, this year. And I feel like the Pistons will be in a good position to go get somebody or be that third team in a trade that yields something back. We've seen reports that they are interested in being that third team to help facilitate deals, but you got to take calculated, smart risks. And I think that's one thing that the Pistons haven't done over the last few years. Yes, they may have taken some risks, but it was, not the brightest, type of chances that you should take. So I think ultimately they would be remiss if they didn't go out and try to land a slightly bigger fish than what they normally would this trade deadline.
Yeah, and you know what?
At least try.
Because Chuck Brewer, he makes a good point. Kool-Aid, with how fast Cade is growing, we need to maybe rethink that timeline, because he looks like a man that just wants to win.
Yeah.
But you know what? Rod Beard, what say ye? Swish or brick, brother? You want to see the Pistons? Let me hear it, brother.
We're going to go swish on this. And the true Christmas spirit, we're re-gifting. You trade for these draft picks, you take the bow off of this one, you put it on the next one, and you trade it on to somebody else. You don't need these draft picks, and we talked about this before. You have too many young guys you're going to have to make decisions on that you can't keep first-round picks. You're just going to have to move them to somebody else and get a bigger fish somewhere down the road.
That's a good strategy, because that was the other thing. I was going to hold that until after your answer, and you kind of led right into it. The one strategy I saw is that Trajan Langdon, his mindset, and like some of the people close to him, they're part of that, hey, stock draft picks, and then when you're ready to go get that big fish, you control everything. You have the cap flexibility still, because they're going to. Tobias is coming off those books in two years. Now just another season. So you're talking about stock draft picks, a team that already as constructed is looking play-in worthy. You actually have found yourself in a pretty good situation to, if you do take that step back and get those draft picks, I want them to be able to just push that button, but if the draft picks put them in a better position to get a better star, rather than have to sit around and wait for a disgruntled or injured star, I will wait it out with how the Pistons, is the caveat, with how they're looking right now. But KG, let's get our third and final.
Yeah, and this one, to preference, Spinny and I kind of piggybacked off Spinny on Big D Energy a couple days ago with this one, and it kind of took off on the internet. So, is Cade Cunningham the best Piston since Isaiah Thomas? Swish or brick?
I remember seeing the magnetism of Grant Hill just as a superstar player. He was a bona fide superstar player. And some of the stats that he was putting up, especially on rookie seasons and as he went on and being that 25-5-5 type player,
right?
That was Grant Hill. You talk about the shoes, the jerseys, and realistically being a guy who they didn't have much success, but the playoffs they did make, you knew it was because Grant Hill was pulling that team. I wish the Detroit Pistons medical team did better by him because I believe there was a lot more Pistons back and the front office. I believe that we honestly cost ourselves an opportunity at seeing something very, very special with Grant Hill. But as it currently sits right now, I remember like that was a player I watched intently. Cade is somebody that reminds me of Grant Hill. Cade is somebody that I believe can surpass Grant Hill. But right now, it's, in my opinion, it's still Isaiah, Grant Hill. And then there's players in there like Ben Wallace and Chauncey Billups who you gotta make sure that you nod the cap to. Rip Hamilton, who was the Pistons' all-time leading playoff scorer. So it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But I start with Sam Flannel.
I love Cade Cunningham and I love Spenny's spirit.
Yeah.
It's Grant Hill for now. And obviously we all knew this while it was going on, that those Pistons teams in the mid-90s and the late 90s with Grant Hill, they were making the playoffs. It's not like that the Teal era was just entirely crap. I think that's gotten a false narrative, which isn't exactly true. Because I'm looking up right now, Grant Hill led the Pistons in win shares 4 times on teams that made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Until Cade Cunningham does it for a couple more years, you still got to say Grant Hill. People forget how good he was.
A little secret, look at his rosters too.
Dude, I know.
His rosters are horrible. Horrible, man. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that gets lost. Even I kind of got lost in the fact that the errors were like drastically different, from what Grant Hill had to deal with and what Cade has to deal with currently. But
the physicality and defense was crazy.
Listen,
that Grant Hill played against.
I'm aware of the accolades and everything else. I do think Cade is the best Piston since Isaiah Thomas. From a pure basketball standpoint, I'm talking just the type of skill set Cade has, what he does for this team. Him being the absolute leader in all categories, pretty much carrying this team. And it was Grant Hill to a degree, but the Pistons have never had a triple-double guy quite like
that was
what
Grant
they
Hill.
got in Cade Cunningham.
That was Grant Hill, bro.
I get it, but I don't think it's to the extent that Cade's going out there and doing it. I mean, you're talking about 18, 19 assists, 12 rebounds, like from the guard position. At least with Grant Hill, he was a forward. He had bigger size, and I know Cade's bigger too, but Cade plays primarily a guard position. So I just think from a guard position standpoint and the type of skill set that he has, I think he is the best that we've technically seen since
I don't know. Grant Hill
minus
was,
the accolades.
No, Grant Hill was a point forward. The ball was in Grant Hill's hands.
He was ahead of his time a little bit. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was a player that honestly redefined what players were going to be like, and it's the reason why the NBA was handing him the torch as the next Jordan.
Right.
You couldn't hold him down. His rookie season, he was rookie of the year. That's just what it is. Early on in his career, he was an all-star. There was no narrative you could hold against him because he lifted and elevated his team earlier.
But I think
it wasn't like he had a pretty picture around him. It was just as at some points in times barren, as we talk about with Cade, but Grant was the guy who was going out there and he was battling and winning against other superstars. And I get that. I just can't discredit that. And he was putting up stats, bro. Like it was.
I get that. No, I saw a piece of the Grant Hill era for sure, and you hate that it was mired by so many injuries, but I just think Cade is a better distributor than Grant Hill was. I think he plays slightly better defense than Grant Hill did, and scoring they wash each other out because they score about the same. But I think Cade has the edge on him in more than a few areas, but. I'll leave it to Rod. You've seen more basketball than a lot of us here.
Rod Beard.
What say you?
What say ye?
Rick, and I was obviously point to Grant Hill, but also Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was a defensive beast. And that dude's in the Hall of Fame, not for just defensive stuff. He was a leader in a similar sort of way. But Grant Hill was carrying the league. He was carrying the league at the time. He was looked at as we look at some of the top players in the league now. That was Grant Hill on a bad team and still doing it. So, yeah, I'll say brick on that.
Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, and you know what? The thing is this, though. When you talk about a Cade Cunningham, he has absolutely made this thing arguable because I understand the way you frame it, KG. The way you frame it, just if I sit back and I'm looking at
just
the
talking pure basketball standpoint.
That's a tough one because you talk about Grant Hill as a 4. Yeah. Grant Hill as a 4 in today's NBA is something that the NBA is not going to be able to deal with. That's a problem. Grant Hill in today's NBA, Rod, he was going in and saying, Alonzo Mourning, have your lunch, bro. Like, that's crazy to me. He was going in and he was body bagging the top defenders at the rim. Scottie Pippen, one of the top perimeter defenders, you don't matter to me anymore. And then I'm meeting your teammate at the rim and I'm dunking over him too.
Yeah.
We have not seen a player like that from a physicality standpoint and ability to handle the rock, to take the ball off the rim and facilitate, because it was every game you knew he was getting at least 5 or 6 rebounds, 5 or 6 assists.
Yeah.
But with Cade Cunningham, every game you know he's going to give you the same thing. So it's amazing that he's made this that arguable, and the Pistons haven't even had success yet. I think that's pretty amazing. But well stated. Any last words? Any last words from you on Cade, Grant?
I just think that Grant Hill has become a little disrespected in Detroit sports circles. He's emblematic of the problem of, if you didn't win a championship, you're a bum. You might as well call him Grant Stafford or Matthew Hill at this point.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. Grant
saying
gets
that Cade
respect.
Cunningham's already better is a little ridiculous. And I love Cade. I am a stan for Cade. I'll build a shrine. I will.
Career-wise, no. I'm just saying from a basketball skill set. That's it. But
all right,
y'all got it.
But anywho,
y'all got it.
It's going to be interesting, man. And honestly, it's a good problem to have right now. Hopefully, everything going forward, we see this squad be able to have more success than the Grant Hill era. And I do believe they will with Cade Cunningham. Rod, on this platform, we set up the Cade zone. Since he was drafted, we've covered Cade Cunningham from the ground level. We've been able to interact with his peoples. And I do believe that he is on a path, and skill-wise, like KG saying, to be that second best, and quite possibly you got to put the championships up. But he's looking like he could be one of those top players ever. But he has to go out there and do it. He has to go out there and win and lift this team. And from what I'm seeing right now, they just put some marginal bench players around him, and Malik Beasley, who's a lot more than marginal, and they've taken a little bit of a step forward. They gave him a head coach that's in the know right now, and they've taken a little bit of a step forward. So, you know what, KG? You're not, in my opinion, you're not going to have to wait long to get that validation. Yeah. But I think all of us are in lockstep of believing that Cade Cunningham is a guy that, whether you believe today he's the second best Piston of all time, that he has a great opportunity to become that, if not even the best of 100%. All time.
Whoa. Second best of all time?
Yeah, nobody said that. Piston. We just said the best player since Isaiah. That's a little different saying he's the second best player ever.
To me is your number one. If you want to talk about skill for skill, if I'm sitting there looking, I don't know, it's tough between Grant Hill and Ben Wallace. It really is. Yeah. In terms of just skill set, in terms of accomplishment, no, there's a lot of other people that I put before Grant Hill. And in terms of accomplishment, I do believe Cade will accomplish more.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the nuance of KG's come from. You're saying no accomplishment. You just looking at the baller who's
clearly
going out
the
there
careers aren't the same yet, but he's getting there. He's getting there. And then when you compare him to people like Chauncey and stuff like that, I just think Cade has a better overall skill set than what those players had during that period of basketball. That's it.
Man, Chauncey's a whole nother conversation. You're talking about a guy who you knew could give you 40.
No, people was bringing Chauncey up in the argument, but
because he could give you 40, he just was like, I'm giving you 16.
He wasn't as dynamic as Cade. Cade is so dynamic. Cade is dynamic in a lot of categories, though. That's.
You know what? Pistons keep winning. You know why? Because talking ball is awesome, but y'all gotta win. It gives us this latitude, man. It gives
Can
us
we
latitude.
even throw Sheed in there? Can we throw Sheed?
No, they threw Sheed in there. Some people was throwing Sheed in there.
I mean, they gotta have a winning record first before we can even really have this conversation. Because part of that leadership is leading your team to the playoffs and to a winning record.
KG is saying I'm cashing in now while the odds are
on
the best.
On some of the Pistons, not on some of these Pistons. I'm cashing in early. That's it.
We're gonna have to get KG. We're gonna have to get KG at Isaiah jersey.
No,
Grant Hill
listen. I love Zeke. I love Grant Hill. I love all my Pistons equally. Like, there's no hate in any category. I just see what I see right now, and I'm not afraid to comment on it. That's it. So
We're gonna have KG in a Grant Hill jersey. We're gonna have Flannel Sam in a J-Mo jersey, standing next to each other.
No, at least I'm not coming on the airwaves talking about Ben Wallace not a Hall of Famer. I mean, you gotta. I'm just saying what I'm saying ain't the worst shit ever been said. That's all I'm saying.
Like, what did I do? He looks like that 50-50.
Different conversation for a different day.
What did I do?
Don't try and demonize me because I see what I see. I'm just saying. There's plenty of people on this network that have come here and voiced their opinions.
And, A-4-1, yeah, shout out Rip Hamilton. He's one of our absolute playoff leaders. Randall Smalls, real quick. Just Merry Christmas to you. Just before we wrap up the segment, one question from him. Could you ask Mr. Beard what we would have to give up to get a Jimmy Butler? Because
the whole farm. You are not doing a trade with Pat Riley or Danny Ainge. Ever. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You're getting the entire
that's real.
farm.
That's real.
Nope. I'm the third team. I'm bringing in my bag of magic beans, and you give me some draft picks, and that's it. I am not trying to deal directly with Pat Riley at all.
I'm still looking for reverberation. I'm still looking around like, what else did we miss something with the Simone Fontecchio deal, dealing with Ainge? Because I'm looking like, how the heck did Troy Weaver and Arn Tellem escape with just, I don't even remember what we gave up for him at this point in time. But I think we were actually one of those teams that helped facilitate a larger deal. So they just kind of threw us Fontecchio. But goodness gracious, you're right on that.
You want to be the third team with them cats. You do not want to be, hey, Danny, I need your superstar. Okay, here's what I need. Nope. And you get a CVS receipt of stuff that Danny Ainge wants in return. Nope.
CVS receipt.
Not doing it.
We traded Kevin Knox, a second-round pick, and Gabriel Procida for Gianni Fontecchio.
Okay, he cooked on that one. But it was to facilitate. There were teams trying to lighten the load so that they could then go and facilitate other deals. And at the time, they were talking about, they were stuck in between, do we trade Lauri Markkanen or do we build around him? And if they were going to build around him, that's what made them keep John Collins. And then they instead offloaded a guy who was about to be an RFA. So it's like, I understood the deal, and it allowed them to kind of move forward and do some other things. So, goodness, thank you for that too. Thank you for that, Justin. Is that a segment?
Yes.
Rod Beard, thank you, brother. Any last words, man? Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Thank you for making the time and you know what? Being more than willing and wanting to just rap with the fellas, man. This is awesome. Thank you, Rod.
We're gonna see Flannel Sam in that. Is there a flannel J-Mo jersey next week?
Hey,
I think so.
Ooh.
I'll see what I can do. It'll definitely be, at worst, it'll be a jersey, but he's got to get the 1,000 yards. But I've been on record saying he will get it. He will get it.
How many does he need?
He needs, I think, 110 in 2 weeks.
Ooh. That's 2 catches. I mean,
essentially,
that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. You know, Rod, thank you, bro. Hey, this was fun. I think Swish or Brick was dope. Swish or Break.
Right.
It was dope. Thank you, brother. Rod Beard, Detroit News sports editor-in-chief, overall great person, has seen and covered a lot of Detroit sports, Michigan sports, and with your position, you preside over a lot of Michigan State sports. So my man Rod Beard is just in the know about everything. And Detroit News, they're people that are the greatest. Definitely follow their work. Stay tapped in with them, and make sure that you guys throw whatever positive emojis you got in the chat for Rod Beard. Thank you, brother, man.
Salute,
Have a
Rod.
good day.
Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Man, every segment when we got the notification that he was like, no, I actually do want to, jump on the pod even though it's not a Wednesday. I was just like, yo, shout out to Rod, man.
Shout out to Rod.
No, Rod's the man.
Shout out to Rod. But Justin, I know when we come back, we're going to do some college football playoff talk. I know you have a lot to say, as do I. But first, tell us about Salvation Army.
Okay, let me do that. The Salvation Army, I mean, you know what it is. It's the red bucket. It's the Santa outside the grocery store. You got to make sure that you are giving back to your community. And what better way to do that than the Salvation Army? Anytime that you see a red bucket, just give a little back. It's what you do. You see the QR code here. You can find out where and when you can give to the Salvation Army. I mean, it's a great cause. It's for great people. And please just give something this holiday season. It is a season of giving, and we got to give back. So have a great one.
Big Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at WoodwardSports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or just chilling, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to the Michigan's largest lineup of rec cannabis products. They've got 27 locations across the state, repping Michigan in a big way. 9 locations across Metro Detroit, so there's one always nearby. And if you're in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, Michigan, get ready. New stores are coming soon on your way.
Absolutely. And then don't do this in order, but go to Les Stanford too. Are you overdue for a new car? Beat the holiday rush and get an amazing deal from Les Stanford Chevrolet. Right now, a Blazer EV2LT with all-wheel drive is only $149 per month. Go check out the Equinox EVLT for only $169 per month. Get to Les Stanford today or click on the QR code on the screen and check out our massive inventory. Don't forget Les Stanford has Cadillac, Buick, and GMC as well. Les Stanford in Dearborn and Ferndale, LesStanford.com.
Hey, what up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for kicking off these holiday shows with us, man. Like I told you guys, it's quiet in here. Usually this building is beaming with a whole lot of life. I see a few people in Birmingham roast. Lady Jane's is pretty quiet. All the administrative staff is, gone. Woodward, a little bit more life out there. But in here and in this chat family, it's definitely been epic. If we have to spend the holidays at work, what better way than to do it right here at Woodward Sports with the fam, with the bros, and we get to break down our teams. So, you know what? Shout out to them, the Pistons. I believe they're a team that's looking to make it a third one in the playoffs. But speaking of playoffs, I know we got to talk about the college football playoffs, too. How appropriate would that do, Justin, in the building?
Shit.
Absolutely, yeah. So the college football playoffs.
What a crock of shit that first round.
They debuted their opening round this past weekend with Indiana playing Notre Dame on Friday, and then you had the Penn State SMU matchup, you had the Texas Clemson matchup, and then you had the Ohio State Tennessee matchup, and every single one of them was decided by double digits. And in the case of Indiana, it was a 27-3 game that Indiana kind of garbage time into 27-17. Not a lot of competitive games. So KG, Justin, first reactions on the opening round of the college football playoff.
I mean, the opening round was pretty shit. I mean, let's be real here. There was no game that was even remotely in the stratosphere of a good game. It felt like every team was overmatched. I think what we all thought in the beginning, that the SEC and the Big Ten is kind of the perennial conferences, is completely true now, and super conferences have made it that way. And it's just sad. The current state of college football is like this because these should be good games, or at least better games. There's no reason why there should be 10 blowouts in the first round of a playoff.
I mean, going forward, I can see what they are trying to do, and I feel like there will be better lower seeded teams in the future, but this is pretty much what we expected it to be. Maybe opposite Penn State, because I was really hoping for a James Franklin crash out. Didn't get it, but I mean, the closest game, Clemson kind of came out in the first half and put up a fight, but besides that, the rest of the teams, like Justin said, were just overmatched, and you could see it. Like,
I was going to say, I thought Clemson, for the most part, actually played pretty well.
Yeah,
they were able to cut
it. You could tell they were overmatched since not going to the portal, though. Since they didn't go to the portal, they didn't have the athletes that Texas had.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think now you got to look at this for next year as the playoff committee, and you have to be, okay, there are glaring issues with the way that we pick teams. You have to value top 25 wins. You have to be a quality opponent to get into the playoff. I firmly believe that the SEC should have had more teams in. I don't care if.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Look, Flannel. The SMU and Indiana played paper schedules. They didn't play a top 25 team. SMU's best win was a 3-loss Louisville team who didn't play anybody either. Indiana's best win was Michigan, who was 7-5, and who almost beat them as well. You could tell on that day when Michigan played Indiana that they were not a playoff team. Clean cut. They couldn't even compete with a team without a quarterback that would have been playoff worthy if they had a quarterback.
No, I mean, that's all well and good. And I've called Indiana schedule merchants. It's just they happen to get the luck of the draw. They played nobody in the non-conference, and the conference play, they got to avoid Oregon and Penn State, and they were able to feast off of that. And with SMU, you can't punish them for playing in their conference championship game. You could say that it would have been better if they won and that maybe they should have beat Clemson, but you can't punish them for playing in their conference championship. Are we even going to play a schedule, or do we just need to put Alabama in automatically because they're grandfathered in? How about you don't lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma? How about you don't go to Oklahoma? All anybody ever talks about is how Brent Venables is a bum coach. He pissed on everything that Lincoln Riley and Bob Stoops built. And now that they go to Oklahoma and lose, it's like, Oklahoma was good anyway. Stop. Because Vanderbilt was good anyway. Vanderbilt.
Because the notion right now.
Vanderbilt was good this year.
Oh! Vanderbilt! We're talking about Vanderbilt! Diego Pavia! You can't go to Vanderbilt and lose.
We got to flannel crash out.
Jesus.
The day after Christmas.
They are college kids. They are literally college kids. They aren't pros. Pros have bad games. If you go out and you beat the best team in the country, Georgia, at home, you are guaranteed to have a letdown spot. It might have been bad, and they lost to Vandy, but Vandy would have been the 4th or 5th best team in the Big Ten this year. Same with Oklahoma. They would have been the 3rd or 4th best team in the ACC. In the Big 12. It continuously goes. Oklahoma dominated Alabama on the line of scrimmage, and they would be able to dominate any team in the country with that line of scrimmage. They also got all their players back from injury a game before Alabama. They've been injured the entire year. You have to take that into context. They have a full-on NFL level D-line, like every single team in the SEC. The Big Ten doesn't have that. I firmly believe that if Indiana would have traveled down to Norman, Oklahoma, or SMU, they both would lose in that same week that Alabama did. And I know, SEC is undefeated in hypotheticals. I understand that. But if you just take the value of the football team, just this pure value of the football team, you can easily see that Indiana and SMU couldn't last through an SEC season. They would both be 6-6 like Oklahoma and Vanderbilt was.
I don't know about...
Maybe
7-5.
Go look at Alabama's schedule. Go look at South Carolina's schedule. Go look at Ole Miss's schedule, and then go down the games. Go down the games and check every single game. You will not be able to find 6 wins guaranteed for Indiana and SMU. You won't be able to. You won't be able to find 6 guaranteed wins.
But here's the thing, though. We're talking about Alabama and Ole Miss dropping games that they shouldn't have. Ole Miss lost to 4.
So what about Ohio State losing to Michigan? Shouldn't Ohio State won? I mean, they didn't won in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay, but they had only 2 losses, and by the way, Michigan is not 4-8 Kentucky. Michigan is not at a 6-6 Florida team, which I'm sure, because it's the SEC, because it's the boys down south, going to the swamp is the toughest place to play ever now.
It was in the last 6 weeks of the season. They were 5-1. And if they would have had DJ Lagway against Texas, it would have been a completely different game. The seasons change. When teams make big decisions or get big injuries back, things change. Florida, if they would have started DJ Lagway from the beginning, they might be ranked right now. They were 5-1. They just blew out Tulane, who was ranked almost the entire year. Like, there are so many pathways for these teams to be be a good football team, and they are a good football team when they make these changes or they get players back from injury. Imagine if Michigan would have lost Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant this year. We're not even having a conversation that they're in a bowl game. Like, injuries matter. That's not to the extent, but like Oklahoma had 2 or 3 NFL level defensive linemen who were injured the entire year until they played Alabama.
I know, but Alabama goes in there and puts up 3 points, and you want to just whitewash it from history like it never happened.
I don't want to whitewash it from history, but I do. We want to whitewash the fact that SMU was down by 30 points in the first half to Clemson, and then was able to get to garbage time, come back.
That's not garbage time. They tied the game, Justin. That's not garbage time. They tied the game, and then Clemson made a miracle field goal.
But they were allowed to. Clemson sat back in coverage. They completely switched their game plan. They let Jennings. And what happened? Clemson ended up winning the game when they went back to their original game plan.
So Clemson, then why did you do that then? Because they allowed SMU to tie the game. It wasn't like they had a 17-point lead and Clemson cut it to 10. The SEC bro mentality just if you lose 3 games, like let me give you the biggest example. Lane Kiffin, stay the F off Twitter, dude.
Okay, I agree with that. Yeah. It was funny, but it was
the complaining, the whining, the bitching, the crying was some of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. And oh, by the way, like I said, beat Kentucky at home. And oh, by the way, I didn't see any of your whining and complaining when your vaunted SEC went to Ohio State and lost 42-10. And I didn't even want it to happen.
Yeah.
But it's funny how you just shut your little whore mouth when it happens to Tennessee.
I mean, shut your little whore mouth.
Tennessee had no chance to beat Ohio State because Ryan Day pulled his head out of his ass and realized that he could throw the ball a million times, and Tennessee couldn't stop him. It's that simple. We talked about it, Flannel. Their pathway to victory was to throw the ball. If they throw the ball, Tennessee has no chance. Their secondary is awful, and you saw their secondary was terrible. It was exactly like that's something that you can see. It's like what I see. Here's Alabama's schedule. Okay, I'll give you 2 wins for Western Kentucky and South Florida at home. Do you think Indiana is a guaranteed win at Wisconsin in September?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. How about Georgia?
No, obviously.
All right. How about Vanderbilt on the road after playing Georgia? That's no gimme.
No, of course. Alabama lost.
We'll give you a 50-50 on that one. How about South Carolina? At home. That doesn't matter to me. It's in October, so it's not cold.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's 50-50.
All right. How about at Tennessee?
That's probably a loss.
How about Missouri?
That's when
they
Missouri
didn't have their
stinks.
quarterback, so we'll give you a win.
Yeah, Missouri stinks.
How about at LSU?
I mean, I don't know. LSU, they're not what they were, but at LSU, maybe LSU gets the win.
All right, I'll give you Mercer. So we're at 5 guaranteed wins right now. Okay. How about at Oklahoma?
Well, no. I mean, Alabama lost to them. So
all right, and then Auburn at the end of the year.
I think that's a win for Indiana.
All right, so you're talking. You think they have 6 guaranteed wins, and they might get a 7th, maybe an 8th, but they are not even remotely close being in the playoff. I mean, let's go on how it is, and they're not even close to Alabama's record, where they got 9-3 in this schedule. I know it's a hypothetical, but hypotheticals matter when it's the context of you've seen Indiana play for 12 games. You've seen them play in a playoff game against a playoff caliber team of Notre Dame, who, let me tell you, is going to get waxed by Georgia next week. I don't give a shit who's starting at quarterback for Georgia. They're going to win by 10+. No, all right,
maybe
you can look at me like that, but Gunnar Stockton just needs to be a game manager. That's all he's got to do.
That's fair.
He's got to hand the ball off to Trevor Etienne, and he's got to let that defense cook. I don't even know if Notre Dame's going to score a point.
Well, okay, that's a little. How
about a touchdown? How about a touchdown? Because they can't throw the ball forward. Okay, how are we in the state of college football where there's teams in the playoffs who can't even throw a forward pass?
But
what are you, Army?
Okay. No, Riley Leonard, he's not great or anything, but he can throw a forward pass. And they got Bo Collins. They're a tight end and whatnot. They have a good running game. Notre Dame is not gutter trash, and they're not going to get shut out by Georgia. Again, this is like the romanticization of Georgia, like they're that same team from a couple of years ago. And I'm not saying that the SEC isn't good. It's just at this point, no, you know what? Here's what we should do. We should just make the entire college football playoff SEC. Just make it SEC tournament.
Oh, my God.
How about that? How about we make the entire college football just SEC? Everything's SEC. You know what? Michigan, drop your program. Ohio State, drop your program. Oregon, drop your program.
Go Sam and
Let's just make it
again.
SEC. Just everything SEC so that the
flannel
boys
bomb?
down south can simultaneously nut.
Sam do absolutes like nobody's business. It's either one side or the other. There is no middle ground. But, I mean, they do need to come up with a better strategy for this. And I thought Maz brought up a great point that after you get your 12 in the future, maybe you reseed them depending on strength of schedule and things like that. Because, this, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, for this year, it's the first year they did it. So you got to live and die with what they give you. But at the same time, I do agree with Flannel with that. Your schedule should matter. The games that you drop should matter. And in Alabama's case, they had 2 really bad losses in there. Although they are an SEC program, that should count against you.
But they're not bad losses. Ask Justin. They're understandable losses. They're losses that you should have predicted. Scoring 3 points at Oklahoma, you should have predicted.
I'm not saying that you could have predicted it, but like it wasn't just like a blowout game in Norman.
True, but
Yes,
I mean,
it was. Yes, it was.
A loss is a loss, though. And I mean, in this new format, since the undefeated team is kind of a thing of the past, if you get in that 3-loss range, you should be up on the trading block for whether you're going to make the playoff or not. That just is what it is. But that's what we're in now. So
yeah,
that's just my opinion.
And you're not wrong, KG. I agree with you. The fact that like Alabama should have been on the chopping block, but like as a chopping block as the last team in, like I see the pathway.
But they put SMU in there for a reason, though. They thought Penn State had the potential to crash out, and that makes SMU look better, and that helps them sell the fact that anybody can get in this thing in advance. That's what they wanted, and they just didn't get that. But it is what it is.
Well, everybody. And here's the thing, and this is where I have to do what is considered the unthinkable and defend James Franklin to some degree. They were never going to lose at home to SMU. They weren't. James Franklin is not a bad coach. He just can't win big games.
Yeah, I don't know.
He
could have lost that one.
He could have lost that one.
Based on track record, Flannel. Based on track record.
Jennings had a mental like lapse.
Oh, he was awful.
He was like out of his mind bad and gonna have some stuff to figure out because he was not playing like how he usually plays. He looked completely overmatched.
And don't have an aneurysm. We just, based on track record, they had the potential to drop that game out.
See, I don't know. Like, it's home against SMU. If SMU is as bad as you guys think that they are and as undeserving as you think they are, Penn State was going to wax them, and they did.
Yeah.
And SMU, I mean, being a Dallas team, going to a stadium that seats over 105,000 in cold Happy Valley, I think it was always going to work that way. But to your point, Justin, it's not even necessarily like the team didn't show up or that they were just completely manhandled the whole game. Jennings choked. Jennings was awful. If he even just plays, if he only commits 1 turnover, then they at least have a chance to make it a 1 or 2 score game in the fourth quarter, but he was terrible.
It's a game. If he doesn't throw those 2 pick sixes to open the game, it is a game. Like they drove down the field 3 times and then were negated by 3 pick sixes, like, or 2 pick sixes. Like that was wild. And no, SMU could have put some pressure on Penn State and maybe created one of those James Franklin moments that we're so used to because they were in it. They were in it till the end.
Yeah, I mean, they could have been. We'll just say that. And then of course Jennings, he could have gotten that first down just running on 4th and 1, but he decided to throw it to a tight end. Was a little behind him. He dropped it. That was another one of those SMU disaster classes from that day. I just think when it comes to James Franklin, obviously he doesn't win any big games. He can't beat Ohio State. He hasn't beaten Michigan lately either. It's just that I think, all things considered, he's been a net positive for Penn State. He's just not a elevator to where they're a national championship contender. And a lot of it is because he just loses his mind at some of the big moments. Even going for it on 4th and 13, that was only James Franklin.
Yeah. And I like how now, like early on, it was billed that he was one of those elevator guys, move you up to the next level. Now it just seems like everybody just takes James Franklin as he's a good coach. That's for me as a Michigan fan.
He's Big Ten good, as Neil would like to say.
That's that 32-ounce steak, T-bone steak at Texas Roadhouse for me when I hear stuff like that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because James Franklin, that was the guy who he would always talk so much. He like as the coach, it was always little comments that would come out before the Michigan game. And it was almost as if Michigan still was like, blop, every single year. I don't know. I love it. I love that Sean Moore went in there and beat them.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it. But
hey,
he is a good coach. I got to say that.
Real quick, I know we up against it, but any surprises from this current round that you see happening?
I think
or
Ohio
is it status quo?
Oregon.
I think Oregon taking that one.
I think Ohio State's going to beat Oregon.
The thing you worry about with Oregon is the defense.
That's true. But it don't matter if we can outscore you. And they can't outscore you.
That Ohio State defense looked pretty damn good against Tennessee. And if they can stuff the run the way they stuffed Tennessee's run for Oregon.
True.
Also,
mobile quarterback.
Ohio State would have won that game if they had 5 more seconds on the clock to kick a field goal. Or Will Howard wasn't a dumbass.
Yeah.
And in Autzen, that's a very, very good loss for them, and I think that they will win on the flip side.
Would Notre Dame over Georgia be? It's an upset, but like, how big of an upset do you think that would be?
I think it'd be a pretty big upset, but the
even without
for Notre
Carson
Dame,
Beck.
but for the college football community, it wouldn't be because they're favorited. Notre Dame's favorited.
Yeah.
I think Carson Beck being out is a little bit of a pathway. I'm not saying Carson Beck had a great year or anything like that, but I think Notre Dame, they've got in the trenches, they're strong, and I think that's where they could at least keep this close. They got to keep it a low-scoring game if they can. Yeah. I think it's going to be close. I think Georgia ultimately wins. I think
it would have been a huge benefit if it was at Notre Dame.
100%. I think Texas drops an absolute bomb on Arizona State.
Man, what?
Even though
hook 'em horns, they finna go crazy.
Even though Quinn Ewers didn't look quite right, their running game was a dominant. And I think Penn State beats Boise State.
I think Penn State's going to drop a bomb.
Boise State's a one-man show.
Exactly. They should, but Penn State getting bounced in the next round.
Probably the worst matchup that Boise State could have possibly had because of the fact that Penn State has such a dominant offensive line. Maybe they got Arizona State or... honestly, any of those teams would have manhandled them up front.
It don't matter who they play in that next round. Penn State out of there. Whether it's Notre Dame or it don't matter. Like they getting bounced.
Well, you know what? We got a couple mailbag questions. I was wondering, do we just wrap up? But you know what? It's Christmas. We go overtime on this show.
We'll rock it.
Yeah, let's hear from our friends.
Ain't nobody here to stop us.
Feldman.
Let's just do Feldman. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations of a Feldman dealership in your backyard, visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, and it's now time for the Wake Up Woodward Mailbag segment presented by Feldman Automotive Group. And JP17 had a statement that I'll turn into a question based off of the college football playoff conversation. He believes, just get rid of conference champs getting an auto buy. Conference champs should get an auto bid, but seed them by overall rank.
I like that.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah. It's the top 4 highest seeded conference champions. That's why Clemson didn't get a bye, by the way. But honestly...
Because you got to make the conference championships mean something still.
I think I like the bye because the fact that they have a bye, it doesn't penalize them for playing in their conference championship game, which is another game that other teams don't have to play. So it completely decentivizes playing in your conference championship game if you don't get a bye for it.
I know, but Boise State and Arizona State getting a bye is just...
It's crazy.
I agree.
I know.
In hindsight, it's crazy. But
it just goes to show that it's in college football, it's the Big Ten, it's the SEC, and it's everybody else.
Yeah. See, I'm good with that, but why don't you reseed them to their actual rankings after the first round? That's where you need to do. I don't care if you have a bye. Even if you have a bye, like Boise State, I think they're ranked 9 right now or 8. Yeah. They should be on the lower line and not the home team. They should, I think that's fair, and they should play the harder opponents.
Real K 77 mailbag. It's almost a guarantee that Cade Cunningham is an all-star, but do you guys think Malik Beasley should be in a 3-point contest, and if so, do you think he can win it? One, he should be there. If the Pistons are within striking distance and you get an all-star, that generally sets off a chain reaction of any other players that can qualify for other events. They will. I could potentially see them sneaking Ivy in somewhere too. You just never know. I believe
Ivy in the dunk contest.
Well, skills competition is more or less right. Yeah. They usually want to go Cade with that, but I can see if he's making All-Star weekend, maybe he maximizes his potential, or maybe he says, you know what, Ivy's having a heck of a year. He's a guy that right now has a potential to go one way or the other with his career. Maybe if the Pistons lobby enough, if K gets an all-star, maybe it gets Ivy in too. But Malik Beasley, he definitely deserves to be there, because if Cade's getting there because of them being in postseason, we know that the Pistons are not there without both Cade and Beasley.
Yeah, Beasley should be in the three-point contest, and he absolutely could win it. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's the word. Definitely. Let's see here. I saw another one here. I believe it was from Randall. Yeah, Randall Smalls. Why did they have buys? Check out the matchups if they don't have them. If they didn't have them.
I mean, I think this is the conversation of, did they expand the playoff too much? I think
it should be 8.
Yeah,
they gonna expand it more.
I think it's
going to go more. I think it's going to continue to grow because they already play the bowls. Yeah, they're going to find a way to just rope this into one big old just goop of madness, in my opinion. Yeah, and I don't. Think
it's going to be March Madness, essentially the football version of March Madness. It won't be as many teams, but
we'll accept it.
It'll be football March Madness.
Like oh yeah, we're going to see like a 4-loss Alabama team in the playoffs someday.
Yeah. Hoof-hearted, he says. Ohio State will find the most soul-crushing way to lose in this playoffs.
You damn right.
That's what they do.
I believe it when I see it.
I mean, I will say this, and I hate to do this, but I just have to. I do give them credit for actually coming out with a strong game plan and executing against Tennessee. Maybe Ryan Day just has a mental block against Michigan. They have the talent to win it all. I would hate to see it happen, but I do think it's more likely that they lose in one of these rounds. It could be this. I mean, Oregon's a really good team, and Oregon kind of got effed by the seeding. They shouldn't have to play an Ohio State team right now.
I hate to say it, I really do, but there is a very good path for them to win the Natty.
Absolutely there is.
Just to be completely and utterly honest, Oregon has a bad defense. Texas can't stop the pass. And whoever they match up on the other side, they're in the championship at that point. And if it's Georgia, they don't have their starting quarterback. And if it's Notre Dame, they don't have a good, Riley Leonard can't throw that well. And then, I mean, if it's Penn State, that's a tale as old as time. So,
hey, you know what, Mark Royal? Should the Pistons try to trade for Lauri Markkanen? It would be the perfect pairing at the 4th spot for Cade Cunningham.
It would, but Utah trying to make him.
His. I'm fleecing somebody if you want him.
For all indications point, Utah is trying to make Lauri like that guy there. So they trying to build around him. So I don't think they would be willing to give him up. You have to take.
That's why they wound up keeping the guards, the power forwards, all the people that were on the trade block. That's why they wound up keeping them, and they only got rid of guys who they would have to sink more money into in the future. Yeah, they kept the guys who are already in the contract. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do there, because they have basically a king's ransom request for a Lauri Markkanen. You're not getting him unless you're paying up. That's just how it goes. Multiple draft picks, multiple players.
Yeah. Love to have him on this team. I'll say that.
No, it'd be great.
That would be it. But let me see if there's any more here. Dante151. Feldman Mailbag. Everyone on a battery percentage. What percentage would you give the Lions to make the Super Bowl? And did you see how Texan fans want Ryan gone? And then KG, are you ready for AEW World's End? So we'll start with the battery percentage one. What's your battery percentage for the Detroit Lions making the Super Bowl? Mine? Oh, I'm sitting pretty, man. 89%. and I got a wireless. I got a charger pack in my backpack. Anyway,
so you're gonna charge up more.
We're gonna charge up.
Right.
We good. Put up, don't play them.
As of right now, with 2 games left to go in the regular season and the number 1 seed uncertain, I am going to go 50. As of right now, that could change.
What up, though? That dude, Justin. Where's your battery percentage at? Detroit Lions on the way to the Super Bowl.
I'm fully charged out here. I'm 100%.
Oh, jeez.
I'm There is no team in the NFC that can stand up to the Lions toe-to-toe when it comes down to the playoffs. Dan Campbell's going to have the boys rocking, rolling, and we're going to have those injuries back. I don't think we got anything to worry about.
KG.
Yeah, well, my phone is currently at 62%, but of course, I think the percentage is a little higher than that.
At least 69.
Man, what?
Something nice, right?
It's over 69, man, but I get what you tried to do there. And yes, I am excited for AEW World's End. JB and Freddie Felt, we all might be meeting up to do a pseudo watch party and try and get some content for Woodward ringside, but definitely looking forward to the card. It's going to be a great card. You got the Continental Classic I think Will Ospreay is going to take that. You got Mariah May Thunder Rosa, Takeshita versus Powerhouse Hobbs. That should be a good match. Moxley defending the world title against Hangman Page, who I absolutely loathe. And, Orange Cassidy and the boys. So, no, it's going to be a great card, man. Looking forward to it. Definitely.
Oh man, IT Hips.
I mean, it's like porn to me. Sorry, I just found that in the vault.
Damn.
I had to hit it. I didn't. JB's got some stuff in here.
Justin over there cooking like, right. JB Smooth gave me the sticks. I got the control. Oh man, and you know what, man? I see another one here. IT Hips. Let's not talk about this one now. Maybe we make this one a segment one day. Feldman Mailbag, which team scares you the most on the path to the Super Bowl? Rank 1 to 3. None scare me, but in terms of if I had to rank the ones that I believe are going to be the most competitive, I think that could be a fun exercise one day.
Absolutely.
But on the way to the Super Bowl, I'll rank them. You got to get to the AFC before I'm like, you know what, that team is one of concern. That's just where I'm at. But is that a show?
Yeah.
Think so.
Chat family is epic, dog. Chat family is smashing that like button right now.
Hey,
thank you
smash.
guys, man. This is awesome. It's been an awesome week of content, even with kind of Christmas right in the middle.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. Like I said, to be able to have this type of appreciation from the chat family, this type of support, the chat family just hanging out the day after Christmas, to the tune of some elevated numbers than we usually see during this time. That's just a testament to you guys and how much we are grateful to be able to have this opportunity to put on a show like this. So let's get this chess pass going and break things down. Hey, shout out to our brother Matthew Broder. Seen you in the chat all morning, man. To have your support means so much, because this platform, this Wake Up Woodward, it doesn't happen without contributions from people like you and the support that you still give us, Matt, and continue to crush it with all the content you do. I know there's some other things that want to get you in the mix in, so we can continue to make sure people get their Broder fix, man. Let me thank Summer. Shout out to Summer. I'm missing someone. JB Smooth, Woodward Sports' MVP. Shout out to you, brother. Enjoy your rest. This is awkward. I know he's still working. You know what? He already hit me up a couple times like, JB, rest. Rest, brother. Seriously. But this elite booth, filling in for JB Smooth in the TD booth. You did a great job today, Justin. You continue to just try to evolve and find ways to give back to Woodward Sports. Shout out to you, man.
Hey, thank you, Kool-Aid. I appreciate everything you do to me. I can't tell you enough. I say it every time, and I'll continue to say it. Shout out to Summer. Check her out on TikTok. Summer Interviews, I believe, is her TikTok. She just interviewed Jameson Williams a couple of days ago. I saw that on her TikTok. So
it's coming to the network soon.
Yeah.
All those interviews about to be
yes,
Woodward branded, and Summer is we're definitely, man, content's about to be crazy.
Yeah, so shout out to her. She's been killing it. I actually just stumbled upon her page yesterday. I was just scrolling through my phone, and I was like, oh damn, this is Summer. So shout out to her. Shout out to KG, shout out to Kool-Aid, shout out to Flannel, and shout out to my boy Trav, holding it down on the social team.
Big Trav.
While I take the weekend off, I appreciate you, Trav. I need it, so thank you so much.
Shout out to Travis. I know he wanted to be able to get up here today for the show, but we have no days off here on socials, right, Justin?
No, we were grinding yesterday.
Shout out to the team, man. Shout out to you guys again. Easy. Everybody's with Team Chase. KG, one of the newest members to the team. Social Squad. We got some stuff cooking up. This is Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG, aka Black Hollywood. Great show today, brother.
Hey, great show, man. Appreciate all of y'all. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, and I hope everybody has a Happy New Year, because 2025 is finna be something else, man, to say the least. But shout out to everybody out there. Real K77, I see you. Adam Shiley, I seen you the past couple days, man. Shout out to you as well, and everybody else that supports us, man. We appreciate it, and shout out to my team. I love y'all. Let's keep this rolling.
Shout out to Rod Beard as well for giving us his time.
Big shout out to Rod.
Definitely, and to this guy right here, the Veteran Squad for the network. I'm telling you, I remember the moment that they got me in here, and like a couple months later, Flannel was in the building, and then like a couple months later, Spinney was in the building. Easy and I were here, and it was like these were some of the nucleuses, obviously Adam and Jeff and others, and shout out to Corey and Joey and Stick and those guys. I gotta say shout out to the Old Night Show too, man. Booner, Lucas, and all these guys, Gentry, because this platform, it is a culmination of what they've done, and one of the more consistent people has been Flannel in this, and that's why I don't want to just shout you. I want to say what up though to those people too. But people got to know how consistent you've been in this thing and how much you've encouraged a lot of us here at this network. And that's why I will always make sure that I shout you out.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you as well. Yeah, the more things change, the more you're going to see this face every single day. So happy to bring you guys a show. And for most of you in the chat, I appreciate you.
Freddie Felt, he said nothing but legends on this show. Thank you, Freddie Felt. Hey, Freddie, you one of those legends. Our whole chat family. Trust me. And as we're bringing this new system, the new super chat system to incentivize you all, this does not cut you guys out of the show. We're still going to say what up, though, to our people. This just gives more of an incentive to people like Dante151 who gives a lot, and we want to give even more back to him. And to those people like that. And so everybody is still going to make sure to be part of this family because, hey, we care. We love you guys. This is why we do what we do. It's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. This has been Wake Up Woodward. Most importantly, I just want y'all to have a blessed day, man. Hey, happy holidays. Let's rock.
He is my Moneyball dream. He is the man that I have.